Welcome to Prepare to Win. Today, we're going to continue talking about our soft skill sets. We're going to talk about overcoming objections, and we're going to talk about one everybody's hearing right now. I'm waiting for my tax return. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm David Lowe, the automotive sales coach, and thank you so much for joining us for Prepare to Win. This podcast, all of the episodes we do is really dedicated to help you live and work with excellence, right? Have that joy, peace, and satisfaction. And today we're going to continue talking about our soft skill sets, right? There's hard skill sets, how to run the computer, right? How to use the program. The soft skill sets are those communication tools, they're customer service tools, and of course, they're closing negotiating tools. They're really people skill sets. And one of those soft skill sets, of course, that we use all the time in life and in sales is overcoming objections. And we're kind of interrupting the normal flow of our episodes, is why I'm coming to you without grace this week. I wanted to get this to you right away because we're kind of in the midst of that tax season. And people have been asking me, what do we say when we hear I'm waiting for my tax refund? And so I want to walk you through that today. And so it won't be so much as living with excellence today as it will be working and selling with excellence today, right? However, I believe the same path that we take to overcome objections when we're selling anything is the path we would take when we have a relational dispute, right? A relational negotiation, when we want to reach a win-win decision with somebody in our life, in our personal life, right? Okay, so we talked about it before, past episodes. What is an objection? It's simply a reason for not moving forward. A condition is something that must be met. But most objections can be overcome. They're a statement of a feeling. I feel like I shouldn't do this right now. I feel like this is right. So it's really a statement saying, I'm going to choose to decide later. And we talk in automotive sales coach and on the dealership playbook, really what people are saying is, I'm not sold yet, right? Okay. So when we get to an objection like that, we've talked about it in a prior episode, and we talked about we always want to use empathy, right, to absorb that. Empathy says, I hear you, I understand you, and I'm listening, you're important, I value you. And by the way, our next episode is going to dive deep into empathy. We believe this is one of the most important skill sets you can have for living well or selling well, or I should say, and or selling well for both. So empathy is critical. Developing the ability to slow down and not respond, but simply let the other person know that you heard them and you understood, right? So whenever we have an objection, we want to cushion it, and we want to use our heart and connect ourselves to whoever we're talking to their heart through this thing called empathy, right? Then from there, we have to take it based on what we have. And a lot of times we will use logic or we'll use good questions to understand more. It depends what the objection is, and we'll cover that in next episodes. But I want to talk about this. I'm waiting for my tax return, right? Now, is that an objection, a reason or a feeling for not moving forward? Or is that a condition? I can't really buy it without my tax. We don't really know that right now, do we? And so oftentimes, salespeople will hear, I'm waiting for my tax return, and they will jump on that one and go right back after it. What if I can do it without the tax return, right? Before they really absorb it, they try to solve it right away. And maybe their solutions are valid, but the buyer's resistant to them because there was no empathy there. We're going to talk about those solutions. So when people say, I got to wait for my tax return, we don't know really if it's condition, has to be met, or feeling, I'm not sure I should do it until my taxes come back, I'm not sold yet. All right? So we have to remember that. So here's what I want to tell you. This is a timely episode designed to really meet you right now with your buyers that are considering waiting for their taxes. And what they're really saying is, I haven't decided what to do yet. How do we handle those? Okay, use empathy. What could empathy sound like for somebody who's waiting? I would say, "Oh, fantastic, right? Do you guys normally get money back or do you pay, right?" It could sound like this. "Oh, wow, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing my taxes right now. How do you guys normally do on that?" Right? We might get them talking about their taxes. In this case, I don't really have my next step because I really don't know what they're saying. Are they saying I can't get approved without my money down? Are they saying I want to use the taxes my money down? Are they saying if I want to make sure I don't owe a ton before I invest in the car? You see, we really don't know what they were saying. So we don't really know if it's an objection or a condition yet. But I'm going to hear it as an objection. Something can be overcome until I find out more information. And once I have more information, I can accurately overcome it and continue to sale. Or if it is a condition, game plan how to move forward from there, right? So I might use a conversation, right? Right, it's tax time. I'm doing the same thing. So tell me about that. What's going on with your taxes? You're trying to get them to say what's happening with it. Now, what do I know? I like to get talking about the taxes to see if I can learn some things. And if I feel like it sounds more like a feeling and an objection and a condition, you know what I want to do? I want to do what I always do when it's a feeling I'm not sold yet. I want to go back to what? Back to the car. The car is the star. So as you're listening to this, you're thinking, when this tax thing comes in, we're going to try to get the buyer to talk about so we can really kind of understand, is this something that they can't do without their taxes? Or is it a feeling that they have? And it's a feeling, let's always take them back to the car because the car is the star. So think about this. When the taxes do come back, will the car that they inquired about even be here? Right? And so this is a big thing. The question is, what got them interested in this car? Why do they want this vehicle? And why are they looking now, right? So we're looking for that motivation and that lifestyle. And oftentimes we can take them through this conversation right back to talking about the car, where the buyer will give you their story, and in their story is the reason for them to go forward now. Now, when we offer a plan like this, hey, you know what? We have some pickup payments. Some of our banks will let us get the car now and put the down payment when you get your tax return. You can also, of course, get there's also a solve that would say that H&R Block will give you a loan for your money. I'm going to tell you what I would do as a sales manager. I would say, listen, what about putting that money down on a credit card? I'll pay your interest until your tax return comes in. There's a lot of different ways that we can try to move the buyer forward so that the car that they want is available for them. And in other words, they can get it now and somehow we can use their tax down. Oftentimes, they don't really need their tax down to get the car. They have money elsewhere. And what I mean, and by the way, this is the biggest majority. They have money elsewhere. So all they have to do is pull that money out of savings for 30 or 60 days and then replace that savings with their tax return. By the way, you can have your tax return directly deposited into that account if you want, right? Okay, so why are we talking about this? We've come upon, in our podcast, we've come upon a series of episodes that are talking about soft skills. Overcoming an objection really uses a lot of our soft skills, right? The ability to create conversation, the ability to ask good questions, the ability to actively listen. You learned about a few podcasts ago. The ability to use empathy to connect with the person in front of us on what they're talking about and truly understand it. We use a lot of those soft skills to overcome objections, and I'm waiting for my tax is no different. Don't assume they have to wait to buy. Go back to the car, make the car the star, and if it's something they want, let's find a way for them to have what they want now. Maybe it's an H&R tax return loan. Maybe it's just paying interest on the credit card. Talk to your managers about this. Maybe it's them using down payment they already have and replacing it with their tax money. There's a number of ways, but when you walk the buyer back through the car, you may have that opportunity. So I may find out that we haven't solved that. This may be happening during understanding goals. And I might say, you know what? Let's worry about the taxes later. Since you're here, you like this car, and here's why you want it, and here's what you're replacing. I get all that. This car is a great option for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Before we worry about taxes, why don't we make sure this is the right car? If it is, I'm sure we can find a solution. If it isn't, we don't have to worry about it. We'll go back to the drawing board and look for another car. How does that sound? Okay. So does that make sense to you? So everybody wants to give you the one phrase or the one turnaround. I don't believe it exists for this. If you isolate it, I'm waiting for my tax return. Okay, so if you had your tax return, would you be buying this car? Really doesn't work. Some of the making the objection to close or isolating it probably is not going to be as beneficial. It works so well for so many things, but not as beneficial here. Here we need to seek first to understand using our great soft skills, active listening, creating conversation with good questions, using what they say to formulate next questions, trying to uncover not just what they want, but why they want it, who they are, how it fits their life. And if all that lines up, we may want to go back out to that car and make sure that's the right car. And if that is the right car, I guarantee you we can come up with a solution. Because I tell you this, committed buyers become flexible. They become flexible about payment. They become flexible about trade, price. They become flexible about term, interest rate, down. They become flexible about a lot of things, and I think a lot of them will be flexible about how they apply their tax down. Okay, I hope that helped. And if it did help, let us know. Like the episode. Go on and like our podcast. Follow us. We're on almost every available platform. And we look forward to the next episode to see if we are going to step back again into soft skills, and we're going to dive deeper into the power of empathy, not just in selling, but in your life. We'll see you next time. Good selling.